in several of months, we have actually achieved quite some numbers. Like we are top 5 in terms of our AI search visibility for our tracked prompts. We are doing some actions that is working for us, and we want to guide this knowledge other users as well. Like what kind of actions can you take as well to have an impact on your AI search visibility? There's a lot of those tools right now in the market. I think you're already aware of them, of all of them, or at least a couple of them. And a lot, like, they are not perfect, right? We know that search AI search visibility tools are faulty, and basically it's more of a synthetic prompts that we are creating ourselves. So this is the biggest issue right now that we are seeing with the tools in the community and such. But I don't think that there's a problem with the tools per se. The problem is more with ourselves, that we are focusing more on the prompts tracking and not the actions that we need to take. So I mean, yeah, everything starts from the prompt tracking. We are setting up the prompts to achieve what we want to know our visibility of, and this is really, really crucial. Like, don't get me wrong, this is really important, and we have to track the most needed keywords that we want to appear in AI search, the prompts that we want to appear, and a lot of those tools helps do that, and they can say what kind of visibility you have. So this is something that is every single tool is doing and every single marketer is doing. But we believe, this could be controversial, that the prompts you track should not be the focus, or it's not that important, but that citation sources from those prompts that you encourage. This is the biggest action list actually that you can do. And those sources are the ones that when you write something in prompts, there's these different sources, and like it gathers knowledge from those sources to determine an answer in different elements. So in our case, in AIclicks, we are gathering those sources, aggregating them, and combining them. And there can be hundreds of sources, thousands even of sources when you're tracking different prompts. So we think that the sources can be the most actionable part, but don't get us wrong, because other parts is really important in whole AI visibility strategy as well. I mean, we have what is the prompt coverage. We have to know how we're competing with competitors. What is our sentiment analysis? What is the traffic from AI that we are getting? This is really something that we should not we should not ignore. But from the citation sources, from different patterns that we're seeing, you can have the most actionable things, not only for AI search visibility, but for your brand visibility, and for, most importantly, SEO as such. And we believe that AI visibility, all of these tools that we are working with, is basically helping us to become more visible as a brand. Like, AI visibility is becoming brand visibility. And why is that? Because to be visible in AI search, we are seeing that you have to be visible in the relevant parts of the internet. I mean, your brand name has to be visible, has to be embedded in different parts of the internet. And those different parts of the internet, those relevant, can be treated basically that the sources that AI pulls answers from, because these are one of the things that we can actually impact. And by impacting those sources, we're also impacting our AI visibility, SEO visibility, and most importantly, I think, brand visibility as such, right? So from those sources that we will talk about, there can be multiple actions that you can do. So starting from updating content, getting backlinks, getting reviews, and engaging in different UGC channels. So these are the most important things that we are seeing that you can do. And this is for, like, what are those specific actions that you can do. So moving forward, creating content. So the sources from those prompt trackers, from AI search visibility trackers, tells you what kind of new topics can you create. We know right now that there's a huge boom happening in these, different page types in SEO and GEO. For example, best listicles, comparisons, alternatives, and etc. And this is what we are seeing actually from the from the source patterns. For example, in this case, we're seeing that there's a pattern on how to track brand mentions in Perplexity AI, and this is the same title basically. So we're seeing same title patterns that we can use to build our next content piece. And this is exactly what we are doing in AIclicks, and we're doing like as well, like we had this framework before manually. We're clustering those similar titles into different clusters, and we are determining, okay, so how many of those same patterns pages are there? So for example, in this case, best AI visibility tools, this topic was like, this is a pattern, like 45 other titles has the same pattern from our sources, meaning we don't need to write 45 best AI visibility tools topic. We can only write one because this is the same pattern repeating in the sources. The same as with best Athena HQ alternatives. We don't need to write 16. We can write one of them. The same is with this. We don't need to write two how to track brand mentions in Perplexity. One of that article can help us cover the need. And this is exactly what we're doing. Like in AIclicks, we are allowing users to gather the data from sources, and we are combining, clustering them based on the prompt, on the title patterns from the sources. Basically, sources are leading our content strategy, and this is exactly what we're doing with AIclicks as well. We're writing and publishing a bunch of blog posts based on the title patterns that we're seeing from our sources. And we are even writing sometimes with AI, of course, having human checks, but we don't really we're not proponents of doing everything with AI. Always check what is AI writing, always have some human checks, so be cautious. But yeah, sources can be a major source of actions, of content units for your next blog article. Moving forward, getting mentioned, or also known as getting backlinks. So every source that we are gathering, we are categorizing them into different page types, because those different page types can allow us to align outreach messaging and like exclude the noise. So for example, there could be listicles where brands are listing different brands. There can be alternatives, comparisons, how to, and etc. And what we are doing, we are basically categorizing different page types according to different frequencies, which means this is the more frequency, which in this case, this website is much more being used in the citation sources than others. So this is the highest priority for us. And of course, we are not mentioned in here. So this is, this just moves our priority list. So different page types, as mentioned, can have different outreach methods. Like if it's a listicle, you can require for an inclusion. If it's a comparison, you can say, hey, I can give you a free tool, a free access to our tool, and you can do an honest review. Alternative pages, if the same with listicles, you can ask to be embedded there. How to guides, you can ask, you can provide some personal product info that could that those articles could write about. So different page types means different messaging, basically. And this is what we're doing as well with our own tool, with AIclicks, with our own SEO strategy, or geo strategy, let's call that. So we are automating every single source from our list that we are gathering and sending outreach messages by LinkedIn, by email, and basically building our backlink / mention authority. In the just recent months, we've built like 30, 40 backlinks a month. We're generating we are growing the referring domains or backlink profile naturally, and majority of those are actually either linking insertions. That means we are getting into the different listicles, sometimes even for free, or we're giving out our tool for free, or sometimes they're link exchanges, meaning that we are adding those other websites to our own listicles or our own pages. So this is really working, and sources can be a huge part of your backlinking strategy as the next step where you can build your backlinks to. A bonus tip, you can also use the sources to reverse engineer your competitor, basically tactics, or let's say where the gap between you and competitors. So in AIclicks, basically you can pick some brands that you are tracking, your competitors that you are tracking, and you can check whether or not they are like where you are not mentioned and they are mentioned. And in this way, you can have a higher priority if you want to outcompete, for example, a competitor, or to be there, in those listicles where, or in those like sources where he is. So that just by adding additional filters, you can have different priorities as well if you want to, I don't know, compete with one big competitor that you are competing. So yeah. Moving on, updating content, which is, I think, the quite basics of of AI search, of geo, and as well on SEO as well. So there could be a thing that your existing pages might just need that one refresh and have that, let's say, framework, that title of how it should be, that pattern of how it should be updated to be more visible in AI. So that is, those things that we already in the market we're kind of aware of. That is, adding a TLDR at the top, structuring bullet lists, comparison tables, updating publication data, matching the titles with what AI is citing. So basically those things that you can have it basically as a guideline. And actually, this is what we are doing as well with our own blog posts that are being cited really well, which is, we're doing author profiles, comparison tables, quick answers, engaging video content. So all of these, because basically AI and LMs and even people wants that quick answers, quick stuff. They want that authority and credibility, to want to trust the authors that they're reading. They want their answer as soon as possible, not to read through lists. And the same way, like how LMs are performing, like as well, like they are reading in chunks. They want answers quick. So these guidelines are the ones that you have to keep in mind when updating the content or even writing the content. So as mentioned, our own written articles are actually one of the top cited in our sources among our all sources. So that means like Reddit is the most cited as a source in our own tracked prompts, which we're tracking about 300 prompts, and our own AIclicks domain is being used really, really frequently. The second most popular source in all of the citation sources from our all track sources. So this means, of course, that all of the things that we are doing, like building backlinks, getting those, updating the content, having it structured, really, really helps in us being not necessarily visible, because this is not visibility like as being mentioned in a brand, but this is citability, that you are being cited as a source to, and basically means AI is trusting you as a source to guide its answers from. Yeah. So moving on, engaging in communities, and I think this is my favorite one. So basically, it's very important to understand that different sources can be popular in differently popular in different industries, let's say like that. So for example, in our own database, we're seeing, like, from 500,000 citations that we gathered from those sources, we are seeing that Reddit, if we would pick 5 industries from our clients, Reddit is the universal thing that is being the most popular everywhere. So I think we already know that. Like, there's huge researches that Reddit is the most popular, even like if either it's a B2C or B2B. YouTube, for example, is a really universal number 2 source, and especially in B2C angles. So we have this wallpaper client, which is really, there's YouTube videos really, really popular among the sources where AI takes its answers from. And, other examples can be like Medium. Medium is really popular among B2B clients and not so popular among B2C. LinkedIn is B2B strong, more stronger than in B2C. And like Facebook, Pinterest is more like related to B2C. So it's really important to understand that you don't have to overthink and be everywhere in every single source. We are going towards this knowledge, this framework, that if this source is not popular among your source, don't prioritize it. You can be there, you can have some sort of action and strategy, but don't prioritize. In our case, we are not prioritizing Facebook and Quora. like being engaging in Facebook and Quora. We are prioritizing LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, because it has much more bigger mentions and coverage in the sources than any other channel. So all of this means as well that if you are mentioned, if your brand sources are the ones that are really popular like Reddit, YouTube, LinkedIn, Medium, there are some certain things that you can do in as actions from to embed your brand and to have your own to improve the visibility. So for example, Reddit, you can turn those Reddit threads into brand placements, meaning the most popular Reddit threads, you can use them to have your brand mentioned in that conversation. So we are doing basically, we're going to Reddit threads, we're commenting, providing user helpful answers by softly promoting our own brands. I mean, how do you track AI traffic? We literally can track AI traffic from GA4. That's what we are saying with another account, and we are using the threads to have our own brand placements in the most popular Reddit threads. Like, I mean, Reddit is the #1 source that for us, so that is a no-brainer. Moving forward, YouTube, as mentioned, YouTube is a really big channel, and we are using YouTube to, in the same way that we are creating content for our blog posts or pages, we're using YouTube to create our own YouTube videos. So basically, we are seeing that there are some patterns that we can use, and we are turning that into our own videos. Other than that, we can use the same videos that are being ranked highly in AI search to promote and to softly integrate our brand as well, which is meaning, basically we are increasing our brand visibility through brand mentions in the YouTube comments, where there's a lot of those comments, and we are engaging. We want to help the users, of course, firstly, but we are writing the comments that will promote AIclicks as well. Commenting on LinkedIn, if a LinkedIn is a huge source for you, you can go to the LinkedIn posts, to the LinkedIn articles where it's being highly cited, and engage in the conversations, trying to softly integrate and not to over promote your brand, but mention in some way in the first comment or the second comments, because somehow LinkedIn in this case is a highly cited source in our case. Medium is a huge source for us, at least, and as mentioned, it's a big source for in B2B. So on Medium, you can utilize its high authority domain to actually rephrase the content. So even Ahrefs team is doing this. They're writing the very similar content pieces that they're doing on their own blog, well, and not necessarily, of course, and they're getting a lot of traction from that. So Medium, you can utilize Medium to basically republish, not copy paste and duplicate, but just rephrase the similar content that you have on your blog and paste it and write it on Medium. Of course, you need to be indexed, ranked. It's a whole working process, but it can get the job done, actually. Facebook groups is a really interesting phenomenon. So for B2C brands, Facebook groups can be a highly cited source. So that means that this particular Facebook group post is used as a source to determine some specific answers. And by being in this conversation in the comment section as a brand, you can increase your chance that AI could pick you as a brand because it sees that your brand is embedded there. And of course, there's engagement and traction happening in this Facebook post. So real people can see your brand and go there and try it out. So we are increasing the brand visibility. An interesting thing that we have tested out is utilizing other high authority domains. We can call it like parasite SEO, but basically by creating custom GPTs on ChatGPT, we are ranking ourselves not only for the term, well, at least there was a time that when we were ranking, but as well we are ranking in the AI sources what AI is pulling their answers from. So our own ChatGPT is being used as a source to determine particular prompt answers. So those high authority domains, that means that it's not necessarily that you you can create your own source if you're doing it right, if it's a high authority domain, if it's basically done right. So this relates really, really strongly to what SEO is all about, basically, because if you're ranking well, you're increasing your chances that this will be as well highly cited, but not necessarily visible, like in as an answer in AI search. So yeah, and of course, building trust. By building trust, we are saying maintaining your review profiles. So review profiles are really, really important, not only for like LLMs, but for real users. I mean, when we are buying something, researching, we're checking the reviews, the good, the bad, the overall ratings, like how many ratings are there. So this is really important as in the for LLMs as the same way that it's important for humans. So LLMs basically are cross-referencing your review profiles, or picks up like one particular review profile, checks if it's outdated, when is the last review was done, what is the sentiment among the reviews. But a very important notice as well, like in strategizing or prioritizing, is picking the right, like not the right, but the first or the priority of the sources of the review platforms that you should build on, because some of those sources can be much more bigger for one brand than the others. For example, in our case, G2 is the main source if AI is using review platforms to determine its answers. That does not mean that we should not be in other review platforms like Capterra or Trustpilot, but we are more prioritizing G2 actually than any other else. In B2C, for example, it could be more Trustpilot. In travel industries, it could be like TripAdvisor and Trustpilot. So it's really important to know what is actually the highest review profiles. What is the biggest source from the review profiles, and you have to action that first. But that does not mean that you cannot action others as well. Just it's a shift of priorities in our case, if you don't have like a lot of dedicated time. So what can you take out from this whole presentation, and what could be the next steps? So everything, as mentioned, everything starts with prompts. I know that I said that prompts is you should not focus on the prompts, but prompts are the foundations. The foundation from where everything begins. If you don't know what is your prompts, or you're not trusting AI visibility tools to detecting your prompts, you can always use your main keywords that you want to rank for. Make it, of course, more transactional, more commercial, but setting up prompts is the first step in all of this action plan. Those prompts will give you sources from day one. It will give you the sources of where your AI answers are coming from. You will have, of course, that all this AI visibility and stuff, which is important, but you want to understand that you want to embed your brand is in as much of those sources as possible. So after those prompts set up, you have your sources. Creating and updating content from the patterns is what you can start doing next as a step 2, let's say. So writing those citation magnets, updating pages, checking what is the patterns and what is your next action unit. This is the step 2. The step 3 can be going towards that outreach process and getting those backlinks or getting those mentions, emailing those listicle owners, pitching yourself for comparisons, for alternatives, and basically, and as well, of course, we can say that having those review profiles as well here can be embedded into the same step, which is basically we are talking about more of the external signals already. And finally, engaging in UGC communities. You have a list of those Reddit threads, you have a list of those Quora, Medium, any source that is ranking for you. You can start prioritizing which matters the most and going towards creating those comments and starting and engaging them. But it's important to understand that you don't need to rush and start doing everything. You have to check what is the highest impact, highest effort, lowest effort that you can do. Like this metrics that we've done can maybe can help in choosing. We really believe that the quick wins can be, just simply completing those review profiles, taking over those review profiles, making sure that you have it, decent reviews, decent descriptions on G2, on any review platform that you have. Of course, outreaching to those listicles, those webmasters, commenting in specific threads, which has the biggest frequency, is also a quick win and does not require that a lot of effort. Well, while we would really, emphasize and prioritize as well, like building this, citation magnets, building your own content, because this enables you to be more citable by AI if you're writing the same content patterns as your sources are. Of course, it needs to be, SEO optimized. It needs to have certain signals, but this is a big bet because it requires a lot of effort, but it has a lot of impact as well. We're seeing that with our own case because we have a lot of citations happening from the AI search from different LLMs. So it's not wrong to focus on and to let's say keep an eye on and track those visibility scores, how many problems we have, the different metrics. This is really important, especially for the management, especially like if we want to understand the benchmarks, what is happening. But since every single tool in the market, it has its own faults, especially not faults, but errors, especially with the prompt tracking. We have to understand that we don't want to over focus on those metrics, because sometimes it can become vanity metrics. What we want to emphasize is the actions. What kind of new articles can we build from those sources? What kind of new UGC content can we engage in? What kind of YouTube videos we can create? What kind of backlinks can we build to increase our AI search visibility? Because this will increase, those scores will increase if you will start doing this. It will increase your SEO results, and it will increase your brand visibility as such. I mean, your brand will be much more visible in different parts of the internet by simply emphasizing the actions from the sources. And of course, automating everything. I mean, if any prompt tracker or AI search visibility tracker that you use, can help in automating things. Our own AIclicks tool helps clustering those sources. Different sources are categorized in different page types. Content topics are suggested by different clusters. So this is what we're already doing. Other brands, other marketing teams are tracking the prompts, one at a time, or doing their own custom scripts. So automating that source clustering, content generation, you can create content in scale. This is what can help. What you can scale your marketing activities. Of course, source monitoring and every day, every week is as well what can be done automatically, which is what we're doing right now in AIclicks. And one of the biggest things that we are right now want to launch is outreach campaigns. Actually, automated outreach campaigns that could help users reach different emails, different webmasters to attract attention, and maybe to exchange in listicles, to have a mention in their own brand. So this is what we want to automate as well in the tool itself, fully for everyone. Because right now we're basically doing for our own internal leads, but this will actually come soon. So the main takeaway, as mentioned, I think I repeated myself several times. Use your AI search visibility tool, use your prompt tracker as a action discovery engine. Let's call it like this fancy way. Every single source that you are seeing can become an action. So start from gathering those sources from prompt answers, clusterize and prioritize, and start creating content, start outreaching those webmasters, those different sites that you want a backlink or a brand embedding. Engage in different communities, whether or not it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Reddit, Quora, the ones that it's most important for you from your sources. And of course, build trust. keep your review profiles up to date, have everything ready, have your scores high enough that users and LMs can trust you, and you can be that, that AI search answer that we all want to do.